Hello, hello. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
This is Dave and Roxanne.
Welcome to another episode of
It's
It's
a
a
new
New
day.
Day.
It's
It's
a
a
new
new you.
you.
If this is the first time you're tuning into our business page, we do this episodes once, twice, sometimes over three times per week. But the goal of this episode is to inspire you, to encourage you that if you had a tough day yesterday, there's always a new day to become a new you, to become all that God created you to be.
Yes. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to our page here, and let us know where you're tuning in from. We always love to know how global we are in this community. So we're currently at our home in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
All right, so we're excited to dive into a topic today. We're excited to go back into the new day, new use. We believe that God spoke to us that it's time to really talk about encouraging and inspiring people again, especially in the uncertain times. So the topic today is
In uncertain times, should you still dream big?
parents. We're gonna say parents in the uncertain times. Should you still dream big? That's a very important question because some people in times like this, maybe you just go on when I say uncertain times, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now.
Mhm.
Inflation happening. If you live in this side of the world, well, globally, right? Talks about tariffs. There's fear happening, potential layoff. Job losses. Lots of things happening in the world. Wars happening still. If you're in the Philippines, there's a lot of turmoil
Yes.
happening in that part uh, of the world. So for you watching this, if you're experiencing all of this, especially social media, it's so easy to get caught up in all these things now, all the uncertain times. Should you still dream big? That's the topic. We're going to dive into this question today. Um,
Hello, hello. Hi, Coach Simon, watching from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. Thanks for tuning in.
or should you just shrink your dreams and survive? Is that what you should do in times like this? We're going to dive into that. We're excited to find out. If you're watching this, did you say ask them where they're doing it? Okay, perfect, awesome. Let's also know what time is it in your part of the world, because some people watch it on the replay, maybe midnight, some 1 a.m. We are a global
Mhm.
page here, so we're gonna start with what I love about. I learned from Bob Proctor. He talks about we have six mental faculties, and one of them we're going to dive into today. And because that's what we call the higher faculties that God has given us.
Mhm.
All of us were given those faculties, but we didn't really learn it in school. But one of them is this.
He talks about perception, and perception is one of our highest mental faculties. Two people can look at the exact same situation. One sees struggle, the other sees opportunity.
That's right. So it's really interesting because we could be looking at the same thing, but one sees completely, something completely different than the
Mhm.
other one. And but that's just called perception, right? Because this mental faculty, based on the lens you have of the world, that's how you would react, right? In fact, here it is. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happen during the darkest times. Some of the greatest breakthroughs happened during the darkest times. Do you guys want to see some of the examples of some of the companies that actually rose up,
Mhm.
right? Because of the dark times. Here are some examples.
Yeah, in 1929, Disney was founded. People needed hope, and Walt gave it through
You
stories.
guys know that in the Great Depression, Disney, Great
Mhm.
Depression, everyone else was struggling. Inflation was so high, no one can afford anything, right? But during the 1929, the Great Depression, Disney was found. That's called perception,
Mhm.
right? And Walt saw something completely different. Said people needed, right, hope. So Walt gave it through stories.
Procter and Gamble doubled down on their marketing when others cut back and grew
Think
massively.
about it. During that depression, people were afraid.
Mhm.
Should we shrink? Should be on the defensive? But Procter and Gamble, they doubled down on their marketing. That's interesting.
Yeah, HP, which is the computer, right, was launched in a garage during the tail end of the Great Depression in
Started
1939.
in 1929 to 1930. Now that was like back in the 19s. But what about in 2000s?
Airbnb was started during the 2008 financial crisis, if you guys remember that.
Hmm.
Netflix grew massively during the dot-com crash. Even Apple launched the iPad during a downturn in 2001. And MailChimp, Slack, and WhatsApp all scaled during economic slowdowns.
So from going back to this concept of perception, right? Should we shrink or should we grow? Should
Mhm.
we pull back or should we double down, right? People were in the same economy, others were on the defensive, others went all in,
Mhm.
right? So my question to you is, what do you see, all right, in this uncertain times right now? Are you afraid? Are you excited, right?
Yeah,
uh,
especially with the news right now, right? It's so easy to suck into that, like all the news, and if and it we can relate to that because we find ourselves sometimes when we look at the news, we get depressed, we get scared about what's gonna happen, but that's why you have to catch yourself and you have to look at in a different perspective, right? So for us, the question isn't it is it a good time to start something?
this is a really interesting topic because we started the online business in 2018.
Mhm.
Around that time, do you guys remember what happened that time? 2018, 2019, you remember 2000, right?
2020.
2020, right? uh, the pandemic happened, right? That's what happened. But for us, that's when we started the online business.
Mhm.
People were afraid, people lost, people that weren't able to shift from retail businesses, right? They weren't able to deliver a service and product online. They got, they got demolished, right? They got, some of them got wiped out,
Mhm.
right? But for us at the time, we didn't know, right? It was such an uncertain time, but our business exploded. Why? Because people were looking for a way, certainty that they can earn something even though there was a pandemic. That was an uncertain time. Our business took off like a rocket. And it reminds me, this time reminds me of when we started the online business,
Mhm.
right? There's something so uncertain about to happen. People don't know what's gonna happen. Business people, they don't like uncertainty,
Yeah.
right? But for you, looking at this now from the perception point of view, right? You have to look at what the visionaries see. They see something different, right?
Yeah, I love this. We didn't shrink our dreams to fit our paycheck. We grew our paycheck to match our God-sized vision. So we know that God has given us the dreams, right, to become financially free, to help a lot of people. And even though what you see, the resources could be limited, but you have to believe that we have an unlimited God, which is our big God, that He provides everything. He's the source, not not your politicians, not your the source of like the president or anything like that. Our source, our real source is our creator, right? Our God, right?
Yeah, worship the blesser, not the blessing, right? And all the blessings, as Roxanne said, it comes from God. So
Hmm.
it doesn't matter what happens to the world economy, right? God's economy
Hmm.
is always flourishing. There's always blessings that's going to pour down if you shift your perspective. If you shift your perspective, right? And it's like looking at the same thing, like like the palm. You see the front of the palm of my hand, but I look at the back of my hand. So this could be the struggle, but behind it, it's the opportunity, but it's the same thing, right? Which side are you looking at in this uncertain time? That is the question. And we want to encourage you today that there is still massive,
Hmm.
comment in the chat, massive opportunity happening even in uncertain time. But let me tell you where the massive opportunity is, for us, anyways, it's in the online space. Why? Because you have access to global
Yeah,
customers, right?
you're not limited to your own location, to your own country, to
Wherever
your
the
own.
struggle
Yeah.
is, you can shift where you can advertise,
Yeah.
right? And that was the thing. So if there's a struggle within your country, you can advertise in a country where there is money, where there's still lots of money, where
Mhm.
the economy is booming. That's the beautiful thing about the global, world we live in. You're not
Mhm.
stuck in the country you're in to get customers, if especially if it's struggling. No, no, the opportunity is that if you're in the online space, you can actually access the countries that, maybe is doing, amazing, and get your customers from there. And that's what it is, right? So the real question is this.
Can you shift your perception and see what God might be doing through the storm? So, whatever you're going through right now, it could be like the outside circumstances. Maybe you have some storms in your life, in your relationships, in your finances, in your health, whatever that is, right? It may be hard sometimes to change how, the perception, but if you can switch it to, like questioning yourself that maybe there is a blessing in this, or
Or
what
yeah,
are the lessons can you learn from this, that what, like for us, we're looking at this is a blessing, this is also,
we are gonna double down.
yeah, double down
When
on
people are
marketing,
afraid,
double down on,
because people are
yeah.
afraid in an economy like this, they will probably not advertise. We're gonna double down on it, right? So Roxanne was saying, we don't know what you're going through. Maybe you're the one that is
Mhm.
affected in what's about to happen. Like I know of some friends that, actually a good friend in church, he was looking for a job, an engineering job. He was about to get hired, but the tariff thing came in, and they actually, did not hire him. They halt on the hiring. Or maybe
Mhm.
you're there already, and they start to talk of potential layoffs, right? Because of this thing that's about to happen, right? So what are you gonna do? Are you gonna back down, or are you gonna double down? If our encouragement for you today is to double down.
Mhm.
Be a vision. Think like a visionary, like Walt Disney,
Yeah.
right? Like in the people that started Airbnb, right? The people that Procter and Gamble, they doubled down. If this guys, this massive company is doing it, taking advantage, why shouldn't you, right?
Mhm.
So why don't you, while they're talking about potential thing that's it's a potential, right? Why don't you double down on what you start on the side? Maybe, right? Maybe
Mhm.
that's if you're watching this live or replay, this is not an accident.
Mhm.
This is a divine
And
appointment.
it's also like every tough time, every problem, there's always a reason why, and there's also like a blessing in disguise.
Mhm.
It could be like a wake up call for you, for something that, hey, you need to, do something, right, to start something. Maybe you need to, like, for us, it's, double down on, on our actions, on our, on pursuing more of the dream, right? And in double down on like savings, investing, and buying, right, buying investments and all that. And it is an opportunity, right, rather than saying, okay, like, it is like a depression, it's coming,
Yeah,
different, you know what I mean? Because there is a different kind of perception. But if you think about this is a blessing in disguise, then it will be a blessing if you take advantage of it. Like for us, we started in 2018, right? And in 2020 we have a choice to, during the pandemic, to stop the business, right? But we kept going, and it became the most profitable because,
2 years of our life.
yes, because of, it is a different perception, right? It's just a different way of looking at things.
Yes. And tough times don't stop God's plan for your life.
Mm-hmm.
I want to speak that to you if you're watching this or live or replay. Tough times don't stop God's plan for your life,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we want to just echo that and speak that to you right now. And you
uh,
know,
I like what Rose says, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord. Yes. Who
even
are,
in a
yeah.
certain economy, amazing, amazing. And if you're, I'm speaking to people also that are, maybe you're in the online business community already. Maybe you're thinking of, maybe I should shrink or be on defensive. Shift your perspective today.
Mhm.
Our encouragement for you is to shift your perspective, because we usually get excited. Warren Buffett says this: when there's blood on the street, it's time to invest, right? When people are afraid, it's time to be greedy, right?
Mhm.
Which means invest, buy. For us, it's time to go all in on our advertising, because some people will be afraid. They're not advertisers. There'll be a lot of opportunity. Or it's time to find people. It's fine to go all in and help people that needs
Yeah.
our opportunity in times like this,
Mhm.
because we started in a time like this, and we needed that. And I know a
Mhm.
lot of people, parents especially, that wants to stay home with their kids and spend more time, want to shift, right? Or people that are in a situation that they're uncertain of their future. We know they need this because we needed this
Mhm.
in 2018, especially when the pandemic came. We were grateful that we started in 2018, and when the pandemic came, people were afraid to lose their job. We were like, we weren't afraid because we had a plan that was God divinely orchestrated
Mhm.
for us when a time like this came. So we're gonna end with this. We always end with a Bible verse.
Yes, from Romans 12, verse 2, it says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind."
Right now, again, the pattern right now of the world, if you really look at what's happening in the social media and a lot of things, you get sucked into all of this, right? Uh, you know, don't conform to that, but be
Yeah.
transformed. What was the renewing of your mind? What does God say?
Yeah, feel your mind, especially in early in the morning when you wake up right away, instead of like going to your phone. I know it's very tempting to look at your phone and watch the news, watch social media. Instead of that, have a commitment to yourself that for the first hour, first 2 hours of your morning, you don't look at social media, right? Like fill your mind with the word of God, fill your mind with inspiring messages or preaching or sermons, and so that you can
You
protect
will
your
be
mind.
renewed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you can
Your
protect your
inspiration
mind.
will be renewed. Your hope will be renewed.
Yes.
Your perception, right,
Hmm.
about that there is still incredible opportunity, blessing,
Hmm.
that this world economy does not dictate God's
Yes.
economy for your life.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys.
And
um
if you think somebody needs this message today, that maybe help from this message, share this message to them,
yeah, tag them
tag
or
them.
share it to them. So again, thank you. Yeah, Coach Katrina, thank you both for sharing savers. Yes, that's our morning routine that we learned from the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod as
To
well.
bulletproof your mind, especially in
Yes.
times like this. Thanks for tuning in. That is another episode of
It's
It's
a
a
new
New
day.
Day.
It's
It's
a
a new
new
you.
you.
God
God
bless
bless
everybody.
you. Bye.